Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today I'm revealing a brand new card from the upcoming Lorcana Set 7, Archazia's Island, and then I'll be also reviewing a bunch of the newest cards that have been revealed over the last couple of days. I'm going to do some thank yous and promote the artist for a couple of minutes, but my card reveal will be the first thing that I show, so if that's all that you're interested in, then just stick around for a few minutes. I will show that, we'll break it down, and then if you want to head straight out, then that's absolutely fine with me. But if you do want to stick around, we're going to be talking about a bunch of the cards that have been revealed for the last couple of days. This will be a YouTube premiere. I only do one every 3 months when I'm revealing a new card. But hi, if you're in chat, thanks for being here. Yeah, I want to give a huge thank you to Ravensburger. I've been very lucky to have a card reveal for every single Lorcana set since Rise of the Floodborn, the second one. So again, a huge thank you to Ravensburger. I'm always honoured to get to reveal a card. I will say straight away that if you're interested in the lore of Lorcana, then this is an interesting card and I'm super blessed and super happy to have it. I will be completely honest, I do not expect it to see metagame play. There's definitely a fun deck that can be built there, and again, I'm super psyched to get this particular card. Again, I'm super interested in the narrative of Lorcana, and this one is associated to a storyline that I am very invested in. But let's first of all shout out the artist for this card. We have Valerio Bonfantino, I hope I'm saying that right, an Italian freelance artist who has brought us quite a lot of their talents already to the Lorcana trading card game. The first thing that caught my eye, of course, was they are the artist for Ratigan Very Large Mouse, so I certainly hope I get to meet this artist one day and get my copies of Ratigan signed. Also the Enchanted Belle, Robin Hood, Queen of Hearts from Rise of the Floodborn, the original Maleficent Sorcerer from first chapter, and Sail the Azurite Sea, which is an extremely meta card. So yeah, a lot of cards here that I can imagine players would love to get signed. Shout out to the Royal Guard as well, of course. Now let's jump in and see the card. If you know me, you know that my favourite Disney film is Basil, the Great Mouse Detective. I was honoured to get a Basil to reveal last set for set 6, and I'm getting an encore. The Ravensburger team have seen fit to bless me with yet another Basil, and this has been a really cool storyline going on since Shimmering Skies, with Basil being hypnotised by Jafar and told that he needs to find both halves of the Hexwell crown for Jafar. Manages to find one piece, which is in the One Piece. Inside the Greater Luminary, and returns that to Jafar, and then he makes his way to the Inklands, as depicted in the art, for seeking the Hexwell crown, and Jafar sees that's where it is, sends Basil to try and find it, and he goes there, but an owl-like creature has absconded with the crown and taken off with it. So the mission continues, and here we see Basil, Secret Informer, a 6-cost Ingable, 3/6, quest for 3, and draw them out. Whenever this character quests, opposing damaged characters gain Reckless during their next turn. They can't quest and must challenge if able. The final part of the crown, Jafar will be pleased. So here we go. We knew that Jafar was gonna get his way, because we already know the next set for Lorcana is the Reign of Jafar, which I'm super excited for. And here we see now Basil did find the second half of the crown. I'm assuming this is in Archazia's Island. That's not 100%. It might be elsewhere. But I'm pretty sure this is in Archazia's Island, and I imagine Archazia took the crown away from the Inklands and flew it back to her island. Again, that's not completely confirmed. I'm trying to put the pieces together the best I can. But yeah, fantastic, beautiful art, and again, this is what leads to Jafar's reign, so I love to see it. But yeah, really cool card, great art. As I said earlier, I don't expect this to see meta play. Unfortunately, the fact that this ability is built into questing, and we're not a Floodborn, I unfortunately think this is far too slow to be a 6-cost. Your 6-cost character can't do nothing on play unless the payoff is huge, a la something like a Maui Shark. Giving blanket Reckless to all of your opponent's characters is cool, but the fact that they have to be damaged, that's another condition that we need to fulfill. And again, like we've been talking recently about Damage Matters decks or Challenger decks, which both are seeming like they're getting some support in this set. So if you are building some sort of fun deck where you think you can consistently get damage on your opponent's characters, and maybe you're playing hyenas and stuff like that, then maybe you want to throw this in, but ultimately I think it's too slow. This needed to be, at the very least, needed to be able to shift and it just gave Reckless without the condition of damage. Questing for 3 is nice, and a 3/6 stat line is okay. Obviously falls to Medusa, or is exerted by Ratigan. But yeah, super cool card, and again, any videos that you see that are talking about the lore and the narrative of Lorcana, this card will definitely be on that slideshow, as it were. Beautiful art, and honoured to get another Basil. It's my favourite Disney film. But yeah, when it comes to the metagame, I'm not sure that Basil's going to make it. We're going to go on now and talk about some other cards that have been revealed over the last couple of days. If you just came for the reveal and you're heading out, please hit the like button for me on the way out, but I appreciate you dropping by. But if you are sticking with me, then let's talk about some cards that have been revealed the last couple of days. We have Sapphire Coil, a Sapphire 2-cost inkable item, and Brilliant Shine. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may give chosen character -2 strength this turn. If you're in the chat right now and you have opinions about this card, type 1. Just type 1. I just want to see something. So, this card is kind of good. Like, kind of crazy good, in my opinion. And seems to be the opinion of a lot of the Lorcana community. There's a lot of discourse surrounding this card, because we already know the strength of being able to lower opposing characters. Just Ice Block has defined formats, being able to play it along with Brawl, Medusa, Daring Visitor Sisu, and the Floodborn Empowered Sibling Sisu. Now we can do it, we can -2 strength. We don't even have to exert this, so this isn't even a once per turn ability, so it's quite reasonable to do this twice to one character or to 2 different characters. You ink for turn, and then you ink through Saudi Azurite Sea, or you sing How Far I'll Go, or one of the other many ways that we have of ramping. You play a Tipo, whatever it is. It's like, it's not unrealistic to expect to get multiple triggers out of this. And now suddenly, everything is being banished to Brawl, Medusa, etc. Not everything, it's slight exaggeration, but not a huge one. Like, so much more is now very easily in range for these characters that already have had their thumb on the format for an awfully long time. Now, admittedly, let's be tempered and like look at both sides. This is a 2-cost, so if they are playing this on 2, Ruby Sapphire, which I think is the deck that benefits the most from this, and don't get me wrong, there's other synergies. You can play it with Emerald, and like, so there's a deck now that really wants to play into Under the Sea in a big way because of this. But let's stick with Ruby for the moment. If they're doing this on 2, they're not ramping, which that's a good thing. But their turn 3 Daring Visitor is now taking out pretty much anything that can be played up until that point in the game. So if you're playing against Ruby Sapphire with this item and you're on the draw, these are the only characters that you can put down that aren't going to be immediately taken out by Coil plus Sisu. And if you're on the play, these are the characters that you can put down and are not immediately removed by 3-cost Sisu plus the Coil. The only relevant one at this moment in time being the Madam Mim Fox. Potentially this Cobra ends up being relevant as well. And hey, maybe just as a response to this Sapphire Coil, more decks look to incorporate characters that can get over this, but I doubt it, because none of them are that great at the moment. It needs to be something like a Fox where we want to play it anyway. So this is the point, right? That just 1 drop into Coil into Daring Visitor Sisu just pops nearly anything. Now don't get me wrong, if they're going like Porp into Coil into Daring Visitor Sisu, then the aggro decks could really run away with that, with 1 drop that quests for 2 or 3, or 2, and then a couple of 1 drops on turn 2 that quest nice and high, and if you're on the play, you get to at least establish maybe 2 or 3 more bodies on turn 3 before they get their Daring Visitor Sisu. So you can still overwhelm them and win this race against them if they are coiling, for the aggro decks specifically. But if that ends up becoming too common and the Ruby Sapphire decks are just going to go, okay, well, we're not playing a Porpoise Skull on 1 then, we're playing a body that has like a 1/3 or a 2/2 or something that can like get a 2-for-1 against some of these aggro characters. So there are of course things that can punish them just playing this on turn 2, but by and large it reminds me of Cindy Lock, like where if they've got this Cinderella on board, like you just know that they have easy access to be able to remove the majority of characters that you would put down. And like if this is on the board, you've always got to respect the Daring Visitor Sisu, or the Brawl is now taking out so much more Like, you can brawl Lawrence now. Like, that's mad. Like, if they play Smee on turn 2, and then you're on your turn 3, Sapphire Ink to Sapphire Coil the Smee, and then play your Daring Visitor, pop the Smee. Like, that's huge. And, like, maybe it can be built. I feel like this is a sort of card that is going to really set the standard for the format. Like, it's going to change the way we build decks, because we have to respect this to a degree. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, and hey, like, I don't think that this is unbeatable by any means. Against Ruby Amethyst, like, if you're not ramping on 2, I mean, I think it's probably still an okay matchup for Ruby Amethyst, but a lot still changes. Just the fact that they can have this, and now they can, it's easier for them to, like, a Grandma Tala can go into a goat and it's not trading anymore, it's surviving, and you get a lot more of the Ruby Amethyst characters easily into range, like our goats, etc., are now in range of Big Sisu, and yeah, it just enables these cards like Medusa and Brawl and Daring Visitor, well, both the Sisus, so much, and yeah, I'm not greatly enthusiastic about this card being in the game, to be honest, but like, we need to wait and see. We've had false alarms in the past. It's definitely strong, and it's like a great combo piece for Ruby Sapphire, but how much does it, like, I'm wondering how much it really changes things for them in the long run. It does to a degree. I'm just wondering, like, how much of a difference the turn off ramping makes. Especially if then on turn, like if you played this on 2, Sisu on 3, and then on 4 you probably want to play Flavisham or Tala. I don't know. My point is, I don't think this is unbeatable, but like, it's just another super good tool for Ruby Sapphire, which has already felt so overpowered for so long, so we'll see. Yeah, let me know in chat what you think of this. Maybe there are a couple of examples of situations that I've missed, but in which case, by all means, let us know in chat. But yeah, this is a good card. And just, why is it inkable? Like, we've got a couple of other coils, the Amethyst and the Emerald coil, both uninkable 3-drops. Like, neither of them are very good, but this Sapphire Coil with the, like, super good ability is 2-drop and inkable. Like, Ice Block was uninkable for a reason. Oh, man. Anyway, let's move on. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. We got some puppies. We got Perdita, Playful Mother, who is a dual ink Amber Sapphire card. She's 4-cost inkable, 1/4, quest for 2. When this character quests, you pay 2 less for the next puppy character you play this turn. Pretty cool. And don't be afraid, your puppy characters gain ward. So the Who's Next ability is super cool, but it's far less reliable to be able to, like, because this falls to everything. Even before the coil, this was falling far too easily to the common red cards. But if you've already established a couple of puppies, and you put this down just to give them ward, even if they then brawl this Perdita, then maybe they don't then have the brawl to brawl the actual puppy that's potentially good, that they would have preferred to brawl. So when it comes to the puppy deck, this is no questions asked going to be a part of it. When it comes to puppies, of course, we've got the 2-cost inkable one with a 2/3 quest for 1, and you can run up to 99 copies of them in your deck. We've got Patch and Raleigh, who aren't great, but the most interesting is Lucky, who can exert. You look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and each character, which is 2 or less, goes straight into your hand. And when he quests, if you've got 4 or more other characters in play, your other characters get +1 lore this turn, which is pretty cool. This is definitely a character that can benefit from being warded. Also supporting puppies, we've got Canine Crunchies, which is a 1-cost inkable item, and your puppy characters get +1 willpower. Sure. We've also got Pepper, who's from Sapphire, 3-cost inkable 2/2 quest for 1. Whenever one of your puppy characters is banished, you may put that card into your inkwell face down and exerted. That's pretty cool. Like, when it comes to abilities to try and make puppies something, then there are far worse abilities to have, and worth mentioning. Like, if you've got a bunch of puppies out, including Pepper, and they B-prep or they Big Sisu, then this Pepper should see all those other Peppers get banished, and they should go into the inkwell. And then the last puppy to look at, we've got Lucky. Shout out to Harlan Sweet, finally getting a card reveal. You love to see it. Runt of the Litter, 3-cost uninkable 1/3, quest for 2. Whenever this character quests, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of puppy card characters and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Questing for 2 is nice, and again, this is another character that, like, really needs that ward that Perdita is going to provide, otherwise it's just too easily removed. So yeah, puppies aren't breaking any metas anytime soon, but these are some okay cards to support them. And if you have been wanting to make a puppy deck, or make your current puppy deck better, then I'm sure you're going to have fun with these. Next up, Hero Hamada from Emerald. 3-cost inkable, 3/3 quest for 1. When you play a Floodborn character on this card, draw a card. Nice and simple. We don't have any Floodborn heroes yet, but you've got to imagine that they'll come in time. And we're going to look at a Baymax in a minute that can shift onto anything. But yeah, this is cool. Like, as far as shift target abilities to go, like, it's inkable. 3/3's a nice stat line, or at least it was before the coil. 3/3's a perfectly nice stat line to ensure survivability, to get your shift off. And remember, shifting is inherently always a -1 because you quote-unquote lose the character that you shifted onto. I say quote-unquote because you could bounce it back to your hand and then it's 2 cards again. But in terms of our overall card count, shifting is a -1, and having this means that that is no longer the case and you're digging a little more. So if we get a decent enough hero, then this is a perfectly good shift target to have. Also, this Baymax, just quickly, this was another one that was revealed on the Discord main stage that I had the privilege to be part of a couple of days ago. Didn't talk about it in yesterday's video, but it's worth a glance. 6-cost uninkable Emerald Sapphire card, dual link, 5/5 quest for 2. Universal shift. You pay 4 to shift it onto anything. It's the opposite of morph. And when you play this character, if you used shift to play him, remove all damage from him. So that's pretty cool. Just if you've got any character that's like big and bulky, and that it's nearing its end, it's being chipped away, then just putting this down, suddenly you've got a completely refreshed character that quests for 2 and 5/5 is a perfectly fine stat line. I think Tipo into this is a really strong turn 3 play. This will see play. I don't know how good the Emerald Sapphire deck is going to eventually end up looking. Obviously, it's had some success this set. The discard variants, do you also want to play this in the discard variant? Depending on your uninkable count, but yeah, this is a super interesting card which will at least be experimented on. Next up, we've got T-Car, Elemental Terror. This art, man, they smashed it this set, right? 10-cost inkable, 12/12, my guys. Quest for 3, shift 7, and during your turn, whenever an opposing character is exerted, banish them. We have 2 T-Cars, one's in steel, so we can't shift onto this one, so it's T-Car the Burning one from Chapter 1, 6-cost uninkable, 8/6, and a Reckless. Worth bearing in mind, if this ever gets out of hand, we've got the answer to this Moana. I've been waiting for a reason to play this. But yeah, shift targets, garbage. So if we get a baby T-Car, then cool. And yeah, this ability during your turn, whenever an opposing character is exerted, banish them. I mean, it's cool, right? Suddenly, Pinocchio Talkative Puppet now reads Banish Chosen Character, as does Elsa, or anything which can exert opposing characters. And 12/12 is big, quest for 3. But yeah, even if we had a 1-drop T-Car, I'm not convinced, like, to shift 7, I mean, she's a big girl, right? And she is inkable. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we see some more T-Cars. Next up, we got Card Soldiers, Royal Troops, 1-cost inkable, 1/2 quest for 1. While a damaged character is in play, this character gets +2 strength. I actually think this is pretty cool. Any deck that you're building, again, a damage matters deck for whatever reason you want that damage to matter. Maybe you're playing Ratigan's Party Location, which has Lore Pips if there are damaged characters there. Or this Ratigan that gets more strength, or this Wreck-It Ralph that quests for more, or you want to play a Gaston nice and cheap. There are reasons to want damage on you, sometimes. I think the most notable is if you're Ruby Amber and you're playing Gothels and Mulans for the Rapunzel. Then this just as a 1-cost 3/2 beat stick, I think is perfectly reasonable. Especially, I mean, at the moment, like 4 is a super relative number for 1-drops because of Daisy. But as time goes on, maybe there's more 1-drops that quest for 2 with 3 willpower, and suddenly this is answering a lot of specific characters that are in meta. So I think this is pretty cool. I think this is definitely, this will be my pick up a foil set. I think in the future, the right sort of deck, this could see some play. Next up, we've got Madame Medusa, Diamond Lover. 4-cost inkable, 3/4 quest for 1. Ruby Amethyst dual link, and search the swamp. Whenever this character quests, you may deal 2 damage to another chosen character of yours to put the top 3 cards of chosen player's deck into their discard. So this is interesting. It's not good, but it's interesting. Again, if you are building Mill, and again we got like the Mad Hatter and a couple of Mad Hatter themed cards in the last set, which Mill. So sure, make this a part of it. The fact that you have to quest and do 2 damage to another chosen character of yours. I wish at the very least you could put it on herself. But I think these are too many conditions to fill, to be honest. Especially, like, because the Mad Hatter that you would play with this, which can also mill, like, that is banished to this. So, yeah, and the fact that you can do it to yourself is kind of interesting, because, again, the more cards we get, like, quote-unquote graveyard effects, more reason we might have to want to mill our own deck. At least it's inkable, but as it stands, this is not a great card. I love the art. I love Medusa as a villain, and this scene is pretty iconic from the Rescuers. So yeah, cool art, cool theming. I don't think it's good enough. Next up, Magical Maneuvers, 2-cost inkable. We got the worst fairies here. If you know, you know. Return chosen character of yours to your hand. Exert chosen character. Not much to say here, but I think it's kind of interesting because we already know the benefits of being able to return characters to hand, and then the built-in exert chosen character again is nice. The fact that it can be any character, it doesn't have to be an opponent, is also interesting. If we've got a reason to want to do that, like the Steel Tiana or the Ratigan that we looked at the other day, that we want to be sideways. Realistically, it's probably not good enough, but it's not a bad ability, and like, hey, with the right sort of action matters deck, then sure, maybe. Unlikely, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Alright, next up we've got Pete, Pirate Scoundrel. Super interested in this. 1-cost inkable, 1/2 from Emerald, quest for 1. Whenever you play an action that isn't a song, you may banish chosen item. I really like this, and the Floodborn is not comparable at all, but if you think of something like Clarabelle, the 1-drop, which has the ability, which on play you can pay 2 more ink to banish an item, that is not an insignificant ability to have on a character which is a shift target for a very good Floodborn. The thing is, if you do it on 1, play it on 1, you're never getting that ability off. But the fact that you can play this on 1 and then on turn 2 be able to play an action, like, and if their traditional 1-drop is an item, then this is super cool. And again, the more item hate for the coil, the better. That was another thing I forgot to mention back when we were talking about the coil, is that, like, again, it's super strong, but, like, people just start playing Benjas again and, like, start adding a bit more item hate into their deck, and then maybe Ruby Sapphire, like, really is punished by the fact that they put down this 2-drop instead of ramping, and then it was instantly removed, and maybe that really slows them down too much. So, yeah, going back to coil for a minute, because it's relevant to this card. There are answers to it, 100%. Anyway, I think this is interesting, being able to immediately, like, threaten the item removal just from having this on the board. And you can do it multiple times in a turn as well. That's super, super interesting for any of these decks that want to play a lot of items. So yeah, I really like this card, like, as a shift target for the Floodborn, which, oh boy. We've got Pete, Space Pirate. This art. 6-cost inkable, 5/5. This is an Emerald Steel Dual Link. Shift 4, quest for 2. Well, while this character is exerted, opposing characters can't exert to sing songs. And your pirate characters gain resist 1, which he is a pirate, so this will apply to himself. Mate, shifting this against Steel Song, they're gonna hate you. They're going to absolutely hate you, especially because their best ways to be able to deal with this, Pete, would be to sing songs. And 1 Zeus, because of this resist, isn't enough. So you are going to interrupt them. I don't know, I really like this card. Like, we've been talking for a while about pirates, and I feel like this is one of the pieces that can really put it together. We looked at the Mr. Smee the other day, who's also an Emerald Steel Dual Link. Like, they definitely want Emerald Steel to be one of the, like, good pirate ink combinations, although there are also good pirates in Ruby. Desperate to make the Jolly Roger work. But yeah, Steel has John Silver as well, the location one. Like, yeah, this is easily one of the best pirates that we've had. Yeah, just stopping them from singing, and the resist one is super relevant, and it's all your pirates as well. Yeah, I love this card. I can't wait to build around this. Next up, we've got Kuzco, Temporary Whale. Huge shout out to Breezy and Lorcana After Dark getting this reveal. I know Breezy has been... I know he'll have been super pleased to get this 100%. And yeah, we've been saying for a while, of course we're going to get animal versions of Kuzco and Yzma from the end of New Groove when they're drinking all the potions. Like, that was always going to happen. And we see the first one here. Well, technically the cow was the first one, but the cow is not Kuzco or Yzma. We've got Temporary Whale, 5 cost uninkable, 1/4 quest for 2. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may return chosen character, item, or location with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. Then that player draws a card. Man, this is an interesting ability on a character that is not well statted enough, like, and uninkable. 5 cost uninkable, 1 strength. I'm sorry, this is not doing enough. Don't get me wrong, there's some cute stuff here with bouncing your own characters back to your hand. Well, your own characters or items. Give yourself back the Porpsicle, the T-Po, a ton of come into play abilities, which are cost 2 or less, and then allow yourself to draw a card. Like, yeah, that's cute, but this is way too slow, which is super disappointing because this is like, Kuzco Whale, awesome, but yeah, I don't think this is good enough. Next up, we've got King Candy, Royal Racer. Oh, I'm so excited for this one, mate. Amber Ruby. I said it last time, I'll say it again. The Amber Ruby together, it looks beautiful. 4 cost uninkable, 2/2, quest for 2. And Sweet Revenge. Ha! Whenever one of your other racer characters is banished, each opponent chooses and banishes one of their characters. This is cool, man. This is cool. And we don't even care about the fact it's only a 2/2 because the idea is, like, you put this down on the turn where you're going to get value that turn. Uninkable is sad, but 4 cost is, I think, reasonable for something like this. Let's have a quick flick through our racers. As we see here, we've got some Vanellope's, Turbo, Taffeta, Snowana. That's pretty much it. And of course this Amber Ruby Calhoun up here, which we're still waiting for a shift target for, but this will be a part of that package. Whenever she challenges another character, you return a racer from your discard to your hand. So we can set up a turn where we can banish our own racers, like they're dry, and we can banish them either through challenging into something, or maybe we've got other ways of banishing them with other cards, whatever it is, and then put this down, do that, and then immediately this effect triggers, and we're making our opponent banish something else. Like if they've got like what we think of as Tremaine protection, because this is the Tremaine Be King Undisputed effect. It's just on a it's a bit awkward to get there. But yeah, if they've got a big guy that's ready and a smaller guy that's exerted, and we've got a racer that can trade into that smaller guy, we put this down, make that trade, and then make them get rid of the big one. Yeah, it's not breaking any meta straight away, but I am interested in this card, and I think the better racers that we get, this card becomes better and better and better. So this is one that I'm super interested to try out. I don't know if it complements the Sugar Rush Speedway location deck as is, because that deck doesn't really care about the racer keyword in characterization in particular. Like, it cares a little bit about the Taffeta, which you gain 2 lore for moving to a location, but it doesn't build and like fill the deck up with racers. Maybe it will start to in the future, but I feel like they're going to be 2 separate things. Maybe not. Either way, I think this card is really cool and I'm really excited to build with it. A quick look at this one, which I think is interesting. We've got Miss Bianca, 6 cost inkable from Steel, 5/5 quest for 1. If you have an ally character in play, you pay 2 less ink to play this character. I actually saw Bannable Harker was the first one I saw make the comment I'm about to make, but T-Po into this seems pretty good. T-Po is an ally. Obviously, you play him on 2, ramp up to 3, and then on your turn 3, ink to 4, and then immediately play this. A 3 cost 5/5 beat stick is not bad by any means. So yeah, even though there's not much pizzazz here, like essentially it's a vanilla, but a really, really cheap one with a significant stat line. So yeah, I've got high hopes for this Miss Bianca. Next up, we got Diablo, Spiteful Raven. Go and watch Artabax's reaction to this card. Hilarious. Man, I was speculating, many people were, that when the art for this was revealed, I was like, oh man, this has got to be good, right? Like, this has got to be something else. Like, in the testing group I'm a part of, I was like, yo, I want it to be Yatta. Yu-Gi-Oh reference again. I was like, this has got to be broken, right? 2 cost inkable, Emerald, Amethyst, Dual Link, 1/2, quest for 1, evasive, and challenger 2. Such a shame. The art is so cool. And I don't, for a Dual Link, I don't think this is good enough. Alright, next up we've got Mulan, Imperial General. Look at this art. Ruby Steel, Eat-In, mate. They Eat-In. 7 cost inkable, 5/6 quest for 2, shift 5, evasive. Whenever this character challenges another character, your other characters gain. This character can challenge ready characters this turn. So that's a super strong ability. The fact that we can shift this is even better. The fact that it's evasive with a great stat line. This is super good. Ruby Steel certainly has some cool cards to make that archetype, that in combination, a lot stronger, and this is definitely one that's going to be tested. We already have a great shift target in the 1 cost Mulan, but we recently had another Mulan revealed, which is a 1 cost for steel, disguise soldier, 2/1 quest for 1, and on play you draw a card, and then you choose and discard a card. So it's just like Simba Future King, which has seen some play both since it got a shift target, but even before then, just because it was good at filtering through the deck. But yeah, a fantastic shift target for this. That ability is perfect to have. You will probably prioritize that over the Ruby 1-drop Mulan. Maybe you'll play both, but yeah, this card seems really cool. Next up, we've got Monsieur D'Arque. 1 cost inkable, Sapphire card, 1/2, quest for 1, and I've come to collect. Whenever this character quests, you may banish chosen item of yours to draw a card. So a baby Flavisham, or what I would like to call a reasonable Flavisham. This is pretty good. Do you play this as well as Flavisham, just to have more of that ability? Is this your preferred 1-drop, especially because if you're doing that, then you're not playing Porpsicle on 1? But I suppose, like, you on turn 2, you could play a Porpsicle and another one. Or you can, on turn 2, you can sail, then Porpsicle, and then quest this, draw another card. That in itself sounds pretty good. It will need some experimentation to see if it's worth playing alongside Flavisham, but I imagine that experimentation will happen because it's a reasonable point of view. So yeah, I think this is a cool card. Last 2 to look at. Here we've got Minnie Mouse Storyteller. This art is just waiting to be broken down, and this scroll, I imagine there's a ton of Easter eggs and like hints to foreshadowing there. So that will need to be broken down at another point. But for now, 2 cost uninkable, 1/2, quest for nothing, mate. We've got 2 abilities. Whenever you play a character, this character gets +1 lore this turn. And whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character loses strength equal to this character's lore until the start of your next turn. So if you've raised the lore up a lot, and then you quest, then you could potentially making your opponent lose 1, 2, 3 strength. Something like that. And yeah, playing extra characters is how you're going to get this online. Shout out to Dave, who I saw, was the first person that I saw break down an interesting combo here, where you play turn 1 Simba Future King, turn 2 the Pride Lands Pride Rock, which is 2 to move there, and if a print is there, then you pay 1 less to play other characters. Turn 3, you pay 2 to move Simba to the Pride Lands, so you're then paying 1 less for characters, so you only pay 1 then to put down this Minnie Mouse, that's all your ink, and then you pay nothing to put down Baby Stitch. Then on turn 4, shift Baby Stitch into Rockstar Stitch, and hope to just get endless 1-drops off the top that you can keep playing, exerting, playing for free because it's 1 less to play characters, and just watch this lore rise, rise, and rise. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of time for all of that to fall apart if they are able to remove this Minnie Mouse, or even if you get the combo off, but then you go, okay, 1-drop, 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 oh, I hit another Pride Lands, or whatever characters you're running that aren't 1-drops. So there is a cool OTK there. In a standard metagame, I don't think this is often doing more than a Piglet, which is inkable. There's, of course, a high roll. But, yeah, at the moment, I'm not a believer. Again, there's some cheese involving Rockstar Stitch. And, like, when we get more combos which allow us to play, like, multiple characters for cheap or free, then, like, there might be something here. Like, hey, maybe you did get to 6 or 7 ink. This is dry. You come back into your turn and you're able to just go play 3 or 4 characters and quest for a lot. I think I'd rather play Piglet, to be honest. Cool art. Definitely some room for experimentation. See if we can cheese a Rockstar Stitch OTK deck. But when it comes to meta, I'm not seeing it. And finally, for today, we've got Mickey Mouse Inspirational Warrior. 2 cost uninkable, 1/1, quest for 1. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may play a character for free. He leads the way with a steadfast heart. Shout Steadfast. I miss you, Steadfast. Please release more content. I think a lot of people are really sleeping on this. They are looking at this and they're remembering the Trumpeter that we got, which is just as fragile. But that one you have to exert to get the ability off. We can give this rush, and we can give this rush in quite a few ways. There are a couple of cards in Amethyst that can do it, Croquet Mallet, and there's a Madam Mim, and of course Cogsworth. But we play with Ruby, Vitalosphere, mate. Turn 1, Vitalosphere. Turn 2, play this. Or turn 2, play this. Turn 3, Vitalosphere, and pay for the Vitalosphere, and now you're a 3-1 challenging in, and then hopefully playing a big character for free. I think this is pretty cool. There are certain decks where you're not going to want to play this, especially because it's uninkable. Like anything that's got Grab Your Swords or Tinkerbell, or just steel decks in general, you might struggle a bit. But again, if we're playing this with the idea of like, we're never going to let it sit there. We're going to wait for a turn where we can put it down, immediately rush, and you will nearly always trade with your only 1 willpower unless you can give it resist or something. But we don't care. Like, the high roll here is get this off as quickly as possible and then just play a big 6, 7, 8, 9 character. Play the T-Car! Well, you can't. That's purple-red. But there are absolutely some high rolls here, and this is not as difficult to get off as the Trumpeter Mickey. So, yeah. If I'm wrong, I will say I was wrong. I think a lot of people are really underestimating this, and this is really cool. And hey, like, even, like, you're playing a dock deck, right? So, like, even if it does end up being like, oh, I don't want to play this, or I don't have a situation to play with, play it, then, yeah, you play it in a dock deck. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of this Mickey Mouse Inspirational Warrior. What do you think? And why isn't he a knight? This is becoming a tradition. Me picking a character and going, why does it not have this characterization? But, yeah, this one I really, really like. And that is it. We've still got a few more cards to look at that have been revealed over the last couple of days, but I don't want this video to drag on. We will, of course, do another one in the next couple of days. And yeah, as the set draws closer and closer, I'm getting more and more excited. I want to give another huge thank you to Ravensburger for allowing me to reveal another card. Basil, like I said, I don't think he's going to see play from a meta perspective, but there's a fun deck there. Basil fans unite. I'm sure Knive the Nerd, I know he's a Basil fan. I'm sure he'll try and make it work. But yeah, a cool card to have and a part of the narrative of Lorcana, which Ravensburger know that I'm a big fan of, so you'll love to see it. But that's going to be it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit that like button to show support, and we'll see you soon.